Honourable members, Madam Speaker.
Item 2 on the order paper, communication from the chair.
Honourable members, I want to welcome you back from the brief recess. You recall that on 30th October 2025, the presiding officer adjourned the House and dined. This was aimed at according sufficient time for the members to participate in the ongoing electioneering process. We have, however, recalled the House today for some urgent business. I appreciate all of you who have been able to come and be in the House, and especially those members who lost in primaries and are not standing, like my brother Chemasweti Toroko, and they are not standing, but they can still come back to the House. I want to thank you so much for coming. I want to thank you for coming for this sitting. Honourable members, I appreciate all of you who have heeded the call to participate, and honourable members, yes, LOP. Yes, LOP.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. I also join you in welcoming colleagues back from the political battlefield. I know that most people are out there fighting for their political lives. I quipped and I told the Prime Minister, the acting Prime Minister, that she is very smart. Yes, she's very smart, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, today is day number 65 since presidential campaigns kicked off officially. They officially began on 29th September of this very year. So today is day number 65. And you did allude to campaigns, wishing people to have successful campaigns. We are out there at various levels, presidential, parliamentary, and so on. Honourable Speaker, the campaigns kicked off fairly well. Peacefully, people were out there campaigning, especially the presidential campaigns, and we were happy. In fact, at some point we were here, and I commended government. I said, here I'll give you credit, because so far we are not being disrupted. We hope it continues that way. But alas, it was as if we were triggering them to do otherwise. The campaigns have now become brutal. Very unfortunately and unexpectedly. People are being shot dead, others are injured, many are incarcerated. Tear gas has become the order of the day. Dogs are being used to attack citizens, akin to what used to happen under the apartheid regime in South Africa. Police trucks, police cars are being used for crowd control. That when people are standing on the roadsides, waving to their presidential candidates of choice, the way police pushes some of them off the road is by driving into them, and a number of them have sustained numerous injuries because of that. Honourable Speaker, I saw the IGP, Mr. Abbas Byakagaba, yesterday. He held a press conference. And as we have been making these complaints, why is the brutality setting in so intense a manner? He made remarks and said, the presidential candidate of the National Unity Platform, the party I belong to and speak for, is to blame for the brutality meted out to our supporters because we hold processions. That was according to IGP Abbas Byakagaba. I said, now, there's a problem here. Our colleagues in the NRM regularly hold processions. very regularly, including yesterday, Right Honorable Speaker, because candidate Yoweri Museveni Tibuhaburwa Kaguta was in Mbarara and Rampara, and they held processions in anticipation of him. They even had a band leading them in holding these processions. Now, it is honestly hypocritical for IGP Abbas Byakagaba to say, NUP, we are shooting at you, tear gassing you, using dogs at you, and so on, because you're holding processions. But our colleagues in the NRM are holding processions. Why these double standards? Why this alarming hypocrisy, Right Honorable Speaker? And by the way, I don't want to be misconstrued. I don't fault the NRM colleagues for holding processions. It's campaign time. When a candidate is meant to be in a district, it will be different. That's why police is notified and so on, to make sure law and order prevails, because there is political activity. So I do not fault NRM for holding processions at all, because it is campaign time. My challenge is, when NUP and the opposition hold processions, it is illegal. And so they must be shot dead, they must be beaten, tear gassed, and so on. And for the NRM colleagues, it is okay. This is hypocrisy. And all of us should be condemning this. Because if actually processions are illegal, it should cut across. My considered view is that they are not illegal. Government should tell us. It's good the Attorney General is here, Prime Minister is here, very smart, as I said. Are processions illegal if it is NUP supporters? But if it is NRM supporters, as we saw in Barara yesterday and elsewhere, they are okay and legal. They need to let us know so that we are clarified on that. Honorable Speaker, as I quickly wrap up, yesterday again I saw something odd. The police truck in Mbarara was ferrying NRM supporters to take them to Boma grounds, where the NRM candidate was to hold a rally. I got a bit confused. I said, now, on the one hand, you're beating our supporters, but you're helping to ferry supporters of another candidate. How does this work? When we saw His Lordship Justice Simon Byabakama, the EC chairperson, saying, after you have voted, please go home, police will protect your votes. People are wondering, now, this police is ferrying supporters of another candidate to their rally, and you expect that they are going to protect the votes of everybody? It does not quite make sense, Right Honorable Speaker.
You said police was ferrying supporters of
yes,
one candidate.
Yes, the police truck
from where?
In Mbarara, ferrying them to Boma grounds for the rally of candidate Yoweri Museveni. That was yesterday, Right Honorable Speaker.
I was actually in Mbarara yesterday. Okay.
I don't know if you didn't see it, Right Honorable Speaker, but it happened in Mbarara yesterday. Right Honorable Speaker, the 6 p.m. narrative that I saw the IGP talk about. Yes, according to the regulations and the guidelines, presidential rallies should end at 6 p.m. All rallies, actually. We should endeavor to respect these guidelines. I have a challenge, Right Honorable Speaker, in my camp and my presidential candidate. Police will normally take us off the main roads. A distance that should be 20 minutes ends up lasting 3 to 4 hours. So inevitably, you will get to a rally late. And this is a complaint that we have raised regularly. Why is it that where other presidential candidates pass, the NUP presidential candidate is not allowed to pass? What is the issue? That you have to take us around in these circles. So it's good that we get some procedural guidance on this issue, Right Honorable Speaker. Allow me 1 extra minute. Because this is very important, Right Honorable Speaker. We were in Kayunga. After we were taken in circles, we got to the venue 5 minutes to 6 p.m. When the candidate began to speak, 2 minutes past 6, police began to lob tear gas canisters, firing in the air, and so on, attacking the crowd, and caused a deadly stampede. So I wondered, what exactly are you trying to cure? Because, yes, 6 p.m. is the cut-off time, and we are trying to abide by it. But of course, we are taken in circles, so we might get there a few minutes late. 5 minutes past 6, you are attacking a huge crowd and causing a deadly stampede. How does that make even legal sense? It does not, Right Honorable Speaker. Even then, Right Honorable Speaker, why use bullets, tear gas, and so on? Because you're trying to implement a 6 p.m. rule, and you are killing people unnecessarily. Honorable Speaker, again I saw
There's information, if you can take it.
Information from Honorable Ethel.
Thank you so much, LOP, for giving way. In addition, this information is also needed. Yesterday, what we experienced in Shira Municipality, Wakiso District, I'm actually a victim. Not now, this time, police. UPDF trucks, a truck, two of them came to my side of the car. They hit my mirror. They have their numbers. They have hidden their number plates. And they are on the road. They are aiding police, but the way they are behaving. So we are saying that, how comes now even the UPDF trucks are part of the police security, but they are hiding their trucks? We cannot say this number plate is the one that has hit my car. They have affected the public address system, which we are using. They have hit, these UPDF officers, they hit yesterday our public address system truck. So we are saying now, whom should we ask and why? Thank you for your information.
There is information from Kimosho.
Thank you.
I'll take the information from my former committee member, Honorable Kimosho.
Thank you. Thank you, my former chairman. Honorable Speaker, I wanted to inform my former chairman and the leader of opposition to take heart that sometimes, in Kazo, I hosted the president recently, and I had organized a huge procession. It was supposed to be about 4 kilometers. And police stopped me even when I'm in RM. And so take heart, some of these things are not targeting NOP. As you guide Right Honorable, maybe let's look into this matter holistically, but I don't think it is targeting NOP.
One thing we can tell you, whether you're NRM,
Yes.
whether you're opposition,
Yes.
if the regulations
Yes.
and the guidelines are saying no procession, there is no discrimination. Yes. We don't want procession. And even if NRM is doing it, they should stop it.
That's
if
what
opposition is doing, please stop it.
Thank you for
as
the
I conclude,
information.
as I conclude.
I thought you were done with your information, Honorable colleague.
Let him finish.
May we
Let him
allow the
finish.
speaker maybe to do her work? As I conclude, Right Honorable Speaker, what I wanted to bring out clearly is that it shouldn't be misconstrued that it is NOP being targeted. Because I was stopped, I had organized everything. I actually got headache because of stress. And so it was a bad thing, and I'm sharing the feeling with my brother that possessions are not allowed.
Thank you for that information. I sympathize with you. You know, whenever we talk about election rigging, I saw colleagues in the NRM camp complaining about their votes being stolen, money being used, and so on, including people who sit on the front bench. So yes, some of what we suffer, some of you will suffer. That's why we should collectively say this is wrong and condemn it. Because if it is going to be okay for some, you will be targeted when you annoy the powers that be, Honorable Chimosho.
So you
and so they will not allow you. Honorable Speaker, you were giving me information. Honorable Speaker, again I saw the IGP talking about some of their officers being assaulted, some pushing and shoving. I saw a video which the police displayed. A very problematic video, a female police officer who was being pushed around by some people. The IGP said those were our supporters. I don't know where he gets that from, whether they had tags or whatever. But look, anybody that commits an offense, that person should be arrested and prosecuted. As you know, and it's the same narrative they're using. Some of them pale stones and so on, and they say we have videos. I say, look, if you have seen and recorded somebody pushing a police officer, why then do you have to fire at a crowd? Pick up that person, prosecute them. Honorable Speaker, never have we been on record to say it is okay for police officers to be assaulted. I'll remind the House, Honorable Speaker, in 2022, July thereabout, there was a police constable called Robert Mukebezi that was shot at by a UPDF officer. He was on duty. A UPDF car got involved in an accident, so he was towing it to a police station. They intercepted him and shot him. The man lost his leg. We kept coming here demanding for justice for Constable Robert Mukebezi. The police abandoned him, his institution of work. The army had done nothing at all. Up to now, that man is still suffering. And we have raised that issue, you remember, Honorable Speaker. So that's to show you that we are concerned about anyone that finds themselves offended legally.
Thank you.
Finally, right, Honorable Speaker, This is the final issue. Honorable Speaker, we are getting close to an election. The Minister of Justice and Constitutional Affairs in April of this year was here, and he told us that they are going to table regulations on how biometric voter verification machines are going to apply themselves in the upcoming election. He made that commitment. That time they were seeking supplementary funding to purchase more of these kits. And we asked, where are you basing all of this? And he promised here on the floor, April of 2025, this year, that he will bring the regulations. We have 1 month to an election. They keep coming and asking for money, including some of the supplementaries that are going to be tabled. They want money for the voter verification machines. What guidelines are you going to base on? I saw candidate Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. He made a statement when he was campaigning somewhere. He said, the biometric machines are what we are going to use mandatorily. A polling station where the machine will not work, voting will not happen. I was a bit confused there, and I want government to clarify. With our network issues, we saw what happened in the last election with the census. These machines, the far to reach areas, including Kampala anyway, and the neighboring areas, network will fail, usage will fail. So if you say, we are going to use these biometric machines mandatorily, so where they don't work, there is no voting. So what will happen? In Honorable Kazo Chimosho, who is also saying he's targeted sometimes, if they say we don't want this man back, they make sure at his polling stations the machines fail, or any other person anyway. That means no voting will happen.
Thank you.
What happens? But also those regulations, we need them so that we are able to interact with them, punch holes in them, and otherwise. Thank you for accommodating my concerns, Right Honorable.
Thank you. Thank you. LOP, what LOP raises is pertinent. On the issue of brutality, I don't think brutality is needed as of now. One thing we are failing to understand, most of these candidates don't have support. When you start brutalizing people, you give them support. They don't have. Me, I've been in the field. They don't have. I am speaking as the second national vice chairperson of the NRM party, and I also want I want to request all parties to respect the regulations and the guidelines that are given. But Attorney General, what LOP raises is really a very serious matter. Maybe you will need to give us information, or government. No, let's first get, because this is about our people. Let Madam give the information.
Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker. And I want to thank the Leader of Opposition for the information and the issues he has raised here. One, he raised the issue of violence. Nobody wants violence in life. And
yes, there's a procedure matter.
Madam Speaker, if you allow me later, I will be raising a supplementary issue. But the procedure issue I am raising, the Prime Minister wrote, and she said she will only be represented by the Honorable Nakadama. As far as I see, the Honorable Kasule Lumumba has not changed her name to become Nakadama. So has she now been authorized to come and represent the Prime Minister?
The letter was written to me, not to you. And the letter delegating Honorable Lumumba is also written to me, not to you. So that's why I told her to speak as government. I am the recipient of that letter. It is not for
But Madam Speaker, you act on behalf of Parliament as an institution. So we can't have a stranger representing the Prime Minister.
Can I have government, Honorable Lumumba? And I am calling the name Lumumba. I would have called the general. I know why I'm calling Lumumba, because she's the one acting.
thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker. But I also want to inform
the member that I'm Kasule Lumumba Justin, Minister General Duties in the Coordination Office, Leader of Government Business in Parliament, and that is Office of the Prime Minister. I was talking about the issue of violence that was raised by the Leader of Opposition. I started by saying nobody would love to see violence, nobody would want to experience violence. But when police comes up and gives us information based on what has happened, Right Honorable Speaker, it's the responsibility of the people who are hurt, especially the political party or the individual candidate, to petition the Electoral Commission, and the Electoral Commission calls for a meeting, and if it requires also calling for the government agency that is responsible for the activity or for whatever has happened, then discussion goes on, and if it requires even Electoral Commission bringing out more stringent guidelines, can you do that based on what has been discussed? So I want to request the Leader of Opposition to raise this issue with the Electoral Commission, because the Electoral Commission will have the time to listen to them and look at the evidence they have, but also call the other parties to also bring the information and the evidence they have. If it is visual, then a discussion will go on and a way forward will be found, and it will inform the decision or even amending the guidelines. But the issue of violence, based on what we have seen, whether it is AI or is not AI, I would think we should all keep discipline. And if police gives us guidelines, let's follow the guidelines. And we should also not mobilize people to take up the law into their hands, because it is affecting the most innocent. When you see what is happening, in the beginning, before these videos also came up, well, if they are not AI, where people are giving instructions to people to do certain things above the law, certain things were not happening. And even the Leader of Opposition came here. I was here, and he appreciated. And we also cheered him and said, it is okay, let's continue this way. So what went wrong? We should go back to the Electoral Commission and find out, because that is the team that is mandated to bring all of us on table. Secondly, the issue he has raised, but I also want to add that the person who lost his life, Mr. Okero, may his soul rest in eternal peace. But we should also take responsibility at individual level to make sure we remain disciplined and follow the guidelines. And where we see that there is chaos, let's try to keep away, because I can't tell whether he was involved or not, according to, unless police comes up and explains. Another issue he has raised, the issue to do with the police car ferrying people to the NRM rally in Imbarara. Right, Honorable Speaker, I would want to see the evidence he's tabling, because he has not presented any evidence to us. And people put, what does he use to call them NRM? Is it the color they were putting on? Which color was it? Were they Catholics putting on the color for the Catholic Guild for the women? Were they putting on?
Honorable Lumumba, I said I was there. There was no police vehicle ferrying any supporter. Maybe those were the choir members of the Catholic Church. But for me, what is very crucial that he raises is the issue of brutality. That must be handled. Attorney General, that issue must be handled, because the people who are being brutalized are our people. But we should also not use our people to go on the front line, to go and demonstrate, to go and do funny things, go on beyond the time, the regulations that are required. We should be responsible enough. And I'm saying these candidates don't have support. Attorney General.
Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker. I think, Right Honourable Speaker, you have summarized the issue on violence. I'll just answer the question on biometric voter, which he raised. I refer the Leader of Opposition to the Electoral Commission Adoption of Technology and Management of Elections Regulations, SI 1 of 2021, which address the issue of the use of technology. So the use of this technology is provided for in the law. So that is sufficiently. But the issues of network and any such issues can be addressed under Section 12 of the Electoral Commissions Act.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. The SI that the Attorney General is alluding to, we know and we do have. It's a generic one. And that's why when the Minister for Justice and Constitutional Affairs, who is your supervisor, by the way, according to the law?
He's not by law.
The Minister for Justice and Constitutional Affairs, and I insist, who is your supervisor? Here committed on the floor of Parliament and said, look, we are going to table in April of this year that he is going to table regulations with specificity to the biometric voter verification kits, how they are going to operate, who does what, and so on, because that's important. The generic law, yes, technology, we must be able to use it. That's why that 2021 SI is in place. But a specificity one. And there was a commitment from your end. Yeah. And the other clarification, Right Honourable Speaker, the acting Prime Minister has said we should address these issues to the Electoral Commission and not here.
Let's first, Honourable, this is a very important issue.
We can finish with
Let's
this.
Let's first sort out the issue of the machines. The other ones, the other political issues can be handled. Let's first handle this one.
The Honourable Attorney General, whereas we all agree that technology shall definitely improve, mainly the verification of voters on the voters register and coming up with a legit election, the question arises on the following matter that is not legislated. One, like the Honourable Ssenyonyi raised, by one candidate saying in the election that should the machine fail, elections at that polling station shall not continue. Now, that is not embedded within the law. So, not within the law. So, unless we legislate and embed the two, that, because you remember during the other election, the Electoral Commission came out and said when some of the machines collapsed, that now you can go and refer to the manual register. You understand what I'm saying? So, in case that happens, how is the voter, the candidate, and the electoral process, in this case, how would it be viewed?
Can I find out?
As specifically right?
Can I find out?
Yes, please.
Did the candidate write?
Pardon?
Did the candidate write committing that is what should be done? Or it was just something said?
I think
like
that's even a great proposal from him if he had put it in writing. But now that
because now it is a hearsay.
None of his representatives denies that he didn't say it, we shall take it that he believes in the process.
So we are debating on a hearsay.
It's not the biometric machines, Madam Speaker, are not a hearsay.
No.
And the issue that if they fail, then what follows?
Honourable, what did he say? That if it fails,
yes,
election should not take place in that place. That's what we are saying. Is that something that was written, or it is a hearsay?
It's not anywhere under the law.
Elections is done by the Electoral Commission. Section 12 of the Electoral Commissions Act mandates the Electoral Commission even to stop an election on election day. Right now, I am telling you, you have sufficient legal infrastructure to run the BVVKs. And if Electoral Commission feels that the election should not take place there, it is within the law under Section 12 of the Electoral Commissions Act. So there is nothing to worry about. If I've not heard the President say that, I've not seen the communication from the President to that effect, but the mandate to run the election is with the Electoral Commission. So any issues that you may have in respect to that, you can raise them with the Electoral Commission. But my advice to you is that you have sufficient legal infrastructure to use the BVK machines.
Maybe we also need to remind you that the president is also a candidate. A candidate does not determine how election takes place. It is Electoral Commission. Yes, yes, Asumani. Asumani. Asumani Daudi.
Right on, Speaker, I want to thank you. Maybe through you, I would wish to comment on the issue of the games. But I wanted, again, through you, to address the issue of the machines, the legal regime, and the BVVK machines. Right on, Speaker, the learned Attorney General, in the 2016 election petition, was defending Mr. Museveni in the Supreme Court. I was defending the Right Honorable Mama Mbabazi in the Supreme Court in 2016. We were on opposite sides. Always, we had an opportunity to extensively argue this matter, you recall so well, in the Supreme Court. And there were basically two issues. Number one, there was the issue of the legal regime. At that time, there was nothing to do with the legal regime at that time. As we speak now, one of the things you need to bring to the attention of this House, my understanding is that the regulations were brought probably under Section 51 of the Electoral Commissions Act. Yes. And there were two issues. There are two issues there. Those regulations were supposed to have been laid before this House within 14 days after being gazetted. And this House had a right, through resolution, to have them annulled if they so wished. But more importantly, whatever changes or modifications or proposals that any candidate has or Parliament had to be embedded in those regulations. Now, progressively, there are things that are happening that are not adequately covered in those regulations. I'll give you an example. There are stakeholders in these elections, the candidates and the political parties. Machines are being procured, and the stakeholders have no idea at all but where they are coming from, how they are being procured, the kind of technology. Because you remember, even on the issue of technology in the Supreme Court, we did ask. We invited the Electoral Commission, you recall, in the Supreme Court for cross-examination.
Honourable members, can we invite the minister responsible for that docket? And we have it, because we cannot continue discussing. You're referring to Honourable Mao. Can we have a sitting and invite him to be in the House?
Thank you.
So the issues of the BVK, we discuss if you're okay with the sitting.
Right on, Speaker. Right on, Speaker. The reason why it was important to discuss it now, but I obviously respect your ruling, is that those regulations have timelines, and given the time remaining, the issue of time becomes of essence. That's why I thought that, because at the end of it all, right on, Speaker, the Minister for Justice will not be in the Supreme Court. It will be my good friend, Nsumi Kambi, over there, who will be in the Supreme Court. That's why I think it was important for him to use this platform. But, obviously, your guidance takes precedence.